They're stressful, and audition's stressful.
For every role he's booked, there's a long list of jobs he didn't get, and some of the projects on this list are pretty major. Which auditions did Holland not come out of successfully? Let's take a look.
I actually brought some of my tapes, right, with me today to show you guys.
Number 1. Tom would look very good in a period piece, and we almost had it.
I actually auditioned for Peaky Blinders, and I did not get the part.
It didn't work out that time around, but the creator of the show, Stephen Knight, has expressed that it was probably just because it was a very important role for which I was testing. This series has finished its run, so our dreams of Holland on the show are done. But Knight has also said that the team behind the Peaky Blinders film would love to have him. So who knows what's in store?
How dare you, I've never been so sold in my life!
He could have been a stormtrooper. Holland actually got very far in his Star Wars audition to play Finn, the part that wound up going to John Boyega. It was about 4 or 5 auditions into the process when things went a bit downhill.
I remember sort of saying, like, you're not actually gonna do that, right?
In the scene he was auditioning for, there was some droid speak that Holland wasn't quite ready for.
There's no way this lady's gonna read the robot's lines opposite me just because that would be ridiculous.
The actor got a bit ridiculous himself as he cracked up, laughing so hard that he couldn't even get through the take. Extra awkward since the woman reading with him was totally committed to the world they were in.
She just was like...
Suffice to say, this role didn't end up being Tom's, but it did leave him free to do Spider-Man, so not so bad in the end.
Spider-Man, absolutely Spider-Man.
Holland in the jungle? We dig it. Tom has auditioned for plenty of huge projects that required intense auditions, but his read for Andy Serkis's Mowgli: Legend of the Jungle was one of the oddest he'd ever encountered.
We do strange things for auditions, but I think your audition might be the strangest thing.
Holland took all the right steps in anticipation of this big audition.
I prepared my lines, prepared my scene.
But you never know what to expect in the room. No director had ever asked him to do this.
Now do it as a wolf.
A stunned Holland tried to think on his feet, but the interpretation, well, it wound up being a bit surface level.
So all I did was this.
It wasn't one of the actor's best audition moments, but Serkis was still able to see just how talented he was and even called Tom's audition brilliant. So no hard feelings there.
It was a wonderful experience. It was lovely meeting you.
A tough but necessary lesson. Having started his career so young, Tom's expectations for himself were high, and when his audition for a film called November Criminals came around, he saw it as a potential big break. It went really well, and Holland was a serious contender, but ultimately Ansel Elgort booked it, and it came as a serious blow. Luckily for Holland, he had a pretty special support in his dad.
It's been so valuable for me to have someone on my side, who I know is on my side.
While the actor was pretty angry about the loss, it presented the perfect opportunity for a life lesson with Dad, who explained that you need a loss so that the win feels like a win. And he almost had the golden ticket. Tom Holland and Timothée Chalamet get mixed up all the time, so no surprise they've been up for some of the same roles, including that of Willy Wonka in the Wonka origin story. At the very end, it was between Chalamet and Holland, but when it came down to it, Chalamet was going to be the one stepping into Gene Wilder's shoes, while Holland found himself stepping into Fred Astaire's soon after. At the end of the day, the fact that Chalamet is a stronger singer gave him a leg up over Holland, whose specialty is as a dancing man, or Rihanna, depending on the night.
I used to do a lot of dancing, but that was all choreographed.
The name's Holland. Tom Holland. Before the actor was hunting for treasure in Uncharted, Holland brought up the idea of a James Bond origin story project with the Sony executives. The idea was problematic to begin with because of the fact that it was a James Bond movie would be a secret until the very end, making marketing a total nightmare. Keeping all that in mind, Sony didn't go for it, but they did propose the Nathan Drake role in Uncharted to the actor, and the rest was history.
For me, this was my go-to movie, so to have the opportunity to make it has been a real dream come true.
You never know when you might do an audition. Holland happened to do an impromptu one on the Graham Norton show with none other than Tom Hanks. And it wasn't an easy one.
Would you like more coffee?
Hanks asked Holland to demonstrate an acting exercise with him, and after a slow start, Holland gave it his all, fully committing and even improvising his line of it.
Coffee, please, Tom Hanks, give me some coffee!
Even when put on the spot, Holland impressed.
Oh, by the way, that was absolutely, so you know the drill.
If this was an actual project, we have a feeling he might have booked this one. Now this we want to see. The Australian jungle set reality show and Tom Holland haven't had any formal discussions, but this is one gig Holland has said he'd be all in for.
I actually would love to do that.
Although he did have some slight reservations about potential tasks, explaining,
I'd find the eating stuff really difficult.
And then there was another issue to consider. At least he was being honest.
I'm so impatient, but I think I would find some of the people in there very irritating.
He doesn't always hit his mark. Okay, we know this was a joke, but Holland didn't fail to explore every avenue of the character of Peter Parker, including a potentially British version of him.
Oh, he is? Oh, all right. Give me a minute. Okay.
The drama, the absurdity.
You're tearing me apart!
Holland had it all covered.
I feel like I crushed this. No? Part's mine?
Wrong comic universe, buddy. Tom Holland is Batman? Well,
With great power comes great responsibility.
Holland was nothing short of confident, that's for sure.
I have so much money. I'm Batman.
While he doesn't always book the job, Holland rarely gives less than his all, even if it winds up being a bit off the mark sometimes. Which role would you like to see Tom take on?